Hello everyone, my name is Natalie Rudolph and I am a special and elementary education major at Arizona State. For my lesson plan 1 assignment, I worked with a second grader individually on place value, addition, and subtraction. Here is the standard I addressed in my lesson plan. So it had to do with adding and subtracting within 1,000 using concrete models or drawings and strategies based on place value, properties of operations, and or the relationship between addition and subtraction. I did this one because my mentor teacher had told me that the kids had recently been working on it and that one student in particular needed some extra assistance. So the materials I used are pencils, paper, base 10 blocks, and small whiteboards and whiteboard markers. My lesson plan was drafted according to having the student complete a sample addition and subtraction problem, which was 350 minus 58 on our own, so I could determine prior knowledge and understanding, a review of place value, a review of a number composed or decomposed, a model demonstration of a problem using blocks to represent hundreds, ones, and tens, followed by having the student solve the following problems you see below, which go in varying degrees, varying levels of difficulty from smallest to hardest, which would allow me to take note of the student's mathematical ability and progress to more difficult problems when the student was ready. So that was my original plan, but I quickly realized that I need to be flexible and adaptable and adjust my lesson plan to fit the student's needs and her level. So this happened when I saw the student's first work of 350 subtracting 58. I realized that I couldn't progress because the student had gotten the answer of 770 for 350 minus 58. The student drew a hundreds, tens, and ones chart and used the strategy of crossing out and circling. I asked the student to explain to me how she had gotten the answer she did, and she said, I did 100 tens and ones. First I added 300, 5 tens here, and I had to take away a 10 for 10 blocks on the 100. Then I took 5 blocks away and got 7. Here, the student demonstrates a mathematical misunderstanding of confusing subtraction and addition processes and lacking the ability to estimate a probable answer. For instance, how could you get 770, which is bigger than both numbers combined if you're subtracting? Asking the student to explain to me how she got 770 is supported by the text, as communication is one of the 5 essential principles of mathematics. Students should be able to explain their mathematical ideas in a way which allows us to examine their thinking. I continue to use this idea when asking, does it make sense to get a bigger number if you were taking something away? She said, maybe not. Following, I asked, what does subtraction mean? Here, she correctly answers, taking something away. I demonstrated the truth of this with the blocks, physically showing the taking away process. When asking the student to then point to the number in the 100, tens, and ones place, she was not able to do so. With this information, I modeled 31 plus 80 and then had the student do on her own 49 plus 88 using the blocks. This is important because, as the book shows, there are 5 process standards in mathematics. One of these is representation. Students should be able to use multiple representations to explore relationships and communicate their thinking, which creates opportunities for students to move from one representation of a mathematical concept or idea to another to add depth or of understanding. By providing the labeling and blocks, the book says that this helps the student build more connections. So, following that, here, as you can see, I had the student label the place value for breaking it down. So originally I was going to have them add numbers together, but I used the first number of each problem to have her label. So for 31, I drew an arrow pointing, and I want her to label the ones, which she got correct. Next, as you can see, for number 2, I had her label the tens place. She got that correct. She knew it was 4. I had her label which digit was in the tens place for 69. She got that as well. Then it was ones for 79, which was correct. And the only one she got incorrect was 262 minus 200, which is the last problem you see there. Although the arrow was pointing to the tens place, the student demonstrated a common mathematical misunderstanding by assuming the number must be in the hundreds because it was now a 3-digit number, unlike the other 2-digit numbers that she'd been exposed to. After clarifying this with the student, I thought of other terms I had assumed the student would know and asked about expanded form, knowing she would need this knowledge to compose and decompose numbers. The student told me she did not know what it was. I then asked, is 350 and 300 plus 50 the same thing? The student responded with, is it supposed to be 300 plus 500? Here, the student continues to confuse place value and the addition processes, assuming that in order to add numbers together, you have to have the same amount of digits. I then explained the expanded form, and she was proud when the student was able to show me expanded form for the first number of each addition and subtraction problem. To complete our individual lesson together, I had the student show me what 3-digit numbers would look like with the base 10 blocks. I was proud when the student was able to do this successfully, as demonstrating this is something that she did not have any idea how to do when we had started our lesson. This just goes to show how much potential the student has to grow in her math ability. After working with the student, I have determined the following next steps. A continuation of place value review using labeling and modeling of the blocks, along with a continued emphasis of decomposing and composing numbers when adding and subtracting, which requires a firmer understanding of expanded notation. The student would do well with continued one-on-one support and additional worksheets in order to catch her up with the rest of the class. I do not think the student will be at the level to be able to complete the original problems of this lesson plan without further assistance in those areas. She needs to have a greater basic understanding of these fundamental mathematic concepts before moving on to 3-digit subtraction and addition problems, which is expected in the 2nd grade. Thank you for listening today, and goodbye.